Dodge Brothers was founded in 1900 by John and Horace Dodge. Known for being a bit rowdy and not quite fitting into high society, as well as being capable innovators. So naturally, when Oldsmobile's factory burned down, they turned to Dodge Brothers to build drivetrains. And when Henry Ford needed assistance with the manufacturing and development of his vision of the perfect car, again it was Dodge Brothers who were brought in. They even had their own offices at Ford. But after their perhaps inevitable falling out with Ford and GM, they began making their own cars, first introduced in 1914. The Model 30 had a 35 horsepower, 3.5-liter, 212 cubic inch inline 4. It was the first all-steel bodied production car, and it used a 12-volt electrical system. And Dodge quickly became synonymous with dependability. Immediate military use gained acclaim for their durability during the Pancho Villa campaign, being the first vehicles used in a motorized military raid, leading to nearly 13,000 being ordered for use during World War I, making Dodge the U.S. military's primary vehicle supplier for the next 20 years, a contract that would help Dodge become number 2 in overall sales. But in 1920, both Dodge brothers died in relation to the Spanish flu pandemic. Under the new leadership, Dodge Brothers would join with Graham Brothers to make commercial trucks, helping to make Dodge number 1 in the light truck market. But their car development was becoming stagnant. The new Model 116 of 1923 had such insignificant updates as full steel disc wheels and a shift to a 6-volt electrical system to match the industry standard. For 1927 and 1928, they transitioned from their Fast 4 to 6-cylinder engines. But sales were declining fast, with Dodge having dropped well out of the top 10, which would be when Chrysler stepped in to buy the company. The cars initially fit above DeSoto in Chrysler's lineup, even adding an 8-cylinder for 1930. Although at 221 cubic inches and 75 horsepower, it had 3 horsepower less than the big 241 cubic inch 6. For 1933, Dodge was moved down market to fit between DeSoto and Plymouth. The 8, which was up to 282 cubic inches and 92 horsepower, would go away the following year. The Windstream styling of 1935 had a 1-inch shorter wheelbase for the base model at 116, while the long wheelbase version was 7 inches longer at 128. 1938 would be the last year of Dodge Brothers badging, making it just Dodge. The 1939 Anniversary Series luxury liner would see the last significant update before the war stopped production of passenger cars. By 1940, Dodge was building 4x4 and 6x6 weapons carriers, or WC trucks, for the military. 400,000 were built for the U.S. military, 180,000 for the British Commonwealth, and smaller numbers were provided to both Russia and China. Trucks that would later be sold to civilians as power wagons. The post-war civilian models of 1946 were little changed from the 1942 models, in both cars and trucks, with the pickups finally being updated for 1948. The first new post-war car models arrived in 1949, with a gyrometric semi-automatic 4-speed. Styling was conservative, but a hardtop coupe was added for 1950. 1953 was a big year for Dodge, with more modern styling and a new Red Ram Hemi. The 3.9-liter, 241 cubic inch V8 produced 140 horsepower and 220 pound-feet of torque, and could move the car to nearly 100 miles an hour. For 1954, a PowerFlight 2-speed automatic was added to the options list. New styling for 1955 would bring back the 12-volt electrical system and would be followed by a number of special editions, including the La Femme for women and the Texan for men. And for 1956, a 4-door hardtop would join the 2-door hardtop, both now called Lancer. Automatics would move to push-button for 1957, including the new TorqueFlite 3-speed. Dodge moved into the compact market in 1961 with its own version of the Valiant, taking on the Lancer name. Most standard or full-size Dodges were downsized for 1962, but Dodge retained bigger models as the Custom 880 series to help fill in the market segment left by DeSoto. For 1963, Dodge's Compact would get restyled, renamed Dart, and the wheelbase would be extended to 5 inches longer than the Plymouth Valiant's 106, except the wagon, which remained the same as the Plymouth. Restructuring for 1965 would have the A-body Dart carry on in the compact market, the biggish B-body Standards restyled as the new mid-sized Coronet, and the standard or full-size models moved to the new C-body. A more luxurious and aerodynamic variant of the B-body would arrive for 1966 as the Dodge Charger, bringing back the Hemi V8 as Dodge attempted to gain an advantage in NASCAR and other forms of racing. But Dodge would be late to the pony car market, not introducing the Challenger until 1970. Not exactly a success, it would only last until 1974. Chrysler's new partnership with Mitsubishi would see the Mitsubishi Galant Colt come to the U.S. as the Dodge Colt starting in 1971, soon followed by other models, such as the Galant Lambda Coupe becoming the new Challenger for 1978. But most new models were more evolutionary than revolutionary, with the Dart evolving into the Aspen and the Aspen evolving into the Diplomat. But Chrysler was not doing well, and government loans were followed by restructuring that would move Dodge down market again, this time into the realm of Ford and Chevy. And smaller four-cylinder cars would become the focus, starting with the Omni in 1978, followed by the Aries K-Car in 1981, both soon to have a number of variants, perhaps the most successful being the Caravan, that launched the minivan craze in the 80s. Dodge was soon the leading seller of turbocharged four-cylinders, with marketing that was assisted with a number of performance models in collaboration with Carroll Shelby. But front-wheel drive would soon start to fall from favor in some segments, especially in the higher end of the market. And so would the Turbo 4, no matter how fast they were getting. And Dodge would reinvent itself again for the 90s, starting with the retro muscle sports car, the V10 powered Viper, followed by the cab-forward full-sized Intrepid. The full-sized truck would get redesigned for the first time in 20 years in 1994, after teaming up with Cummins for their big rig diesels in 1989, when it would revive the Ram name. You could even get a version of the Viper V10. The truck would revolutionize the American truck market, for better or worse. Then they would round things off with the mid-size Stratus Cloud Car, and the more friendly compact Neon. But soon they would be in need of yet another revival, this time brought to you by another all-new Hemi V8, first showing up in the updated Ram pickup.
That thing got a Hemi?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Did you mean the Charger? Because, you know, that's got a Hemi, too.
And then followed by the Magnum station wagon,
Dude, what do you got in that thing?
I got an amp, guitar, surfboard, ladder, and 12 2x4s.
then the Charger sedan, and then the Challenger coupe. With ever-increasing performance options, these modern muscle cars have been carrying Dodge for more than 15 years now. And Ram Trucks became their own division in 2009, not really helping things in any way. And soon Dodge is expected to reinvent itself again using e-muscle, or electric muscle cars. Perhaps no more short-sighted than any other direction Dodge has gone in, and probably not the last direction it will go in. We'll have to see how long that works out for. If you want to have input on what brands I do next, check for the most recent poll on my community page. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below and like and subscribe.